all you do is keep striving. You feel like, but if I don't hate my own playing, how can I get better?
The unobserved mind brings about the ego. In fact, the unobserved mind is the ego. These are mental structures which are energy formations, because every thought is an energy formation, energy formations in your head that say, that's me and my life.
The feeling of not feeling good enough is usually tied to that voice inside of your head that keeps judging you and telling you you're not good enough. And what it is, it's not actually you not being good enough. It's that voice being very loud in your head. So really, it's not about your ability to play guitar. It's that voice, okay? So what that means is, no matter how good you get on guitar, you can be, I don't know, your favorite guitar player. You can be that guy. But if you haven't learned to make that voice, like if you haven't learned to, first of all, learn to realize that there is a voice inside of your head that's judging everything you do, then there's nothing external. There's nothing like in form, like there's nothing in your playing or in the way you do stuff or your ability. There's nothing that will change the fact that that voice inside of your head will always be there, regardless of how good you become. And that voice is just there to protect you, basically, from dying. It's a primal instinct. It's a very good voice to have, but right now in our society we don't really need it that much because we're basically safe. If you don't live in a war zone right now, which I doubt you do, because then you wouldn't watch this video. If you don't live in a war zone right now, then that means that you have the ability to just feel good. You have the ability to feel present. You have the ability to just be without having that voice judging you, because that judging voice is the ego. It's trying to protect you, but you don't need it right now. It's good to have it because, in a situation where you need to run for your life, then that's when you want the ego. And the ego is tied to an identity too. So it basically, that's why we get so upset when someone don't agree with us. Because it's tied, our identity is tied to the ego. And since the ego is tied to this identity, that means we want to protect it. We want to protect that sense of self, that sense of identity we have tied to us self. And if someone questions that, then we get defensive. In some cases, even aggressive. And it's that reaction, it's that reactive way of being that will never serve you. The key to all of this is becoming more present. It's to choosing the aware life, to being more aware, to being more present in the literal present moment. Because that's when you'll make the best decisions. And that's when you will enjoy life more. That's like enjoying the stillness that just is in the present moment. Like I've never done that before in my life. I just had that voice inside my head just kept telling me how everything is just lacking and how I'm thinking about that thing in 2 weeks that will ruin my something, or I should be practicing right now, or I should do that, or I should not be enjoying myself right now. There's this sense of shame in everything, and you're just postponing, and you just keep postponing, and then you're lying there 70 years old, 80 years old, 90 years old in your deathbed. You're like, wait, I just postponed everything. I couldn't just live. I couldn't just feel grateful. Is that the life you want to live? You want to live a life of just postponing? Because life is in the being, it's not in the doing. Okay? And the being is now. Life is literally, it's now. Now you have the power to choose what you want to tell yourself. Now you have the power to distance yourself from the ego, tell it you don't need it. Start observing your mind more. You can literally start just observing your mind, because the ego is created from an unobserved mind, as Eckhart Tolle says. And not observing your mind, not observing the thoughts that get into your head, is just the recipe for disaster. It's the recipe for start that self-talk which you have done so much. That self-talk which just talks down on you, which says you're not enough. You shouldn't be enjoying music. You shouldn't be enjoying, practicing isn't enjoying music. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing this. You're not good enough. That's what happens when you're not observing your mind. Okay? Because when you observe your mind, you will start getting aware of the thoughts that come in. And when you get aware of the thoughts that come in, that means you actually get the choice to indulge in them. You get the choice to see them, and you can basically be like, all right, I see that. I see that my mind, I saw that thought coming in. You get in this observing mode, like, I see that thought coming in. Now, what can I do now? You have the power, because you're not identifying with the thought anymore. You are not the thought, but you've been acting like the thought defines you. You've been acting like, when you get a thought that says you're not good enough, you've been acting like that's truth. And with that logic, that means if you would just think you are good enough, you can do whatever you want. I love my own playing. I love that music, regardless of what anyone else says. That means if you would say that instead, that means you would believe in it, right? Just as you believe in the fact that you aren't good enough, it's just, since it's just happening in here, then that means you can, if you let's just say if you'd have the ability to change what thoughts come in, then you would theoretically live a more present, fulfilling, happy life. Am I right? Just think about that. Would that be the case? Don't even like, probably your ego right now is like, oh, that wouldn't work. Instead of going that way, just think about, like, would that be the case if all your thoughts right now would just be replaced with positive thoughts towards yourself, as in what you can achieve, not only in music but in life in general, everything? Would that then be the case, since the thoughts you've been having haven't served you? Now that has become a reality. The thoughts that haven't served you has become a reality, because what happens is, if you don't feel like you're good enough, it's not that other people will feel that you aren't good enough, but it's like, that's the reaction you will give out to the world, and people react to your reaction. And people have their own egos, so they will also feel like you aren't good enough. What if I told you that if you would start feeling like you are good enough and you would give that a reaction out to you, to the world, basically people would just react, because people react. If they're not enlightened, which most people are not enlightened. I'm not even enlightened. I'm working on it. But since most people react to your personality, what you give out, then basically, if you give out that feeling about yourself that you aren't good enough, then that will become a reality. Not because it's like this wishy-washy thing that's just happening, like this psychological thing, like law of attraction. It's not about that. It's just that's basically the what you will give out to people, and they will react to that and believe it, because people aren't enlightened enough to not see that. They will literally only believe what you give out. So if that's what you give out, then that's what they will believe. So not only doesn't it serve yourself, since that's what you like, that's what you believe, then why shouldn't others believe it? You know what I'm saying? I hate the way I play. I'm happy with the way I play, and I'm interested in learning more because I'm a lifelong student. How about that now? Can you use that instead? I love music, so naturally I want to practice. Naturally I want to become more aware. Naturally I want to learn more about my instrument so I can express myself even more. So maybe I'm not. Maybe I see that I will be better in the future, but right now I'm content with where I am right now. But I will naturally become more enlightened and more fulfilled with where I am because I'm present. I'm content where I am right now. How about starting to having the courage to be content, having the courage to be fulfilled with where you are right now? Show appreciation to your instrument. Look at it. Look at your instrument and just feel wow. Just look at it. Just have you looked at your instrument and just like look at the shape, look at the form. It's so beautiful. And you have the ability to play on it. And you have the ability to form this relationship which will last a lifetime that most people only dream of. And you can feel that appreciation and just like and don't fall into other people's ego. Literally, you have the ability to just go beyond that and be content and fulfilled in this journey. It will make you authentic also, which is a good thing. It will make you realize what it is you actually want to play, and you won't be afraid of being who you are, because now all of a sudden you're just content with yourself. You've just surrendered to the process. You've surrendered to the present moment. You've surrendered to now. Start just looking at start looking at your instrument as this beautiful painting and just appreciate it. When you start going on walks, start going on walks without your phone and just just like make it a habit to go on a present walk, I call it, like an enlightened walk. You just go and look up and you just look and see if you can appreciate everything, because it's also beautiful. I'm not kidding. Like, life is so beautiful. Everything around me is so beautiful. There's no there's no nothing that can take that away. And everything bad or unpleasant you feel that happens in your life, and you're like, but how do I do in that situation? I get so egoic. My ego takes over when this and that happen. That's a moment to practice being more present. That's your spiritual practice. That's the like that's what the universe wants you to, like, that's basically a part of your journey. Whenever you feel like, oh, that guy grinds my gears, that guy did that, my brother did that, my sister did that, this guy, that guy, my mother, my that guy, and you'll start realizing that, well, since everybody acts through their ego, then I can be the one that just doesn't react. You know, not reacting is the best thing ever right now, because it's like you don't have anything to you don't have anything to prove, because you chose this like you chose the present way of being, the consciousness, like choosing to be conscious just immunizes yourself from just acting through the ego, acting through that feeling of wanting to like explain yourself. No, that's not actually the case, because I'm this, I'm that, or no, I really love that music because. What if you just felt that, and you felt that so deeply? You felt what you feel, and just see what others say as like a blessing, like thank you for sharing yourself. Even though I know it came from an egoic standpoint, that it made me more present because I could see that. So I thank you for that. It's like almost the answer is to be more grateful and more humble towards people. Just don't react through the ego. And the only thing I want you to do is start being aware of the ego, start being aware of that voice. That voice that keeps having opinions. It's just the ego, okay? Just say that's yours. It's just the ego. It's okay. Just tell it, you know what, ego, I don't really need you right now because you're not really helping me. So thanks, but I'll see you later. And then after that, just take a deep, mindful breath and just put a smile on yourself and just like get back to it. All right? And it takes a while, yes. Start listening to Eckhart Tolle on YouTube. And have the courage to be with yourself. Have the courage to be with your own thoughts. Have you the courage to just look at nothing and see how long it takes before you get into a state of almost like no thoughts. Because what happens when you just look at a wall? What happens if you just look out in the distance and just sit like this? Well, probably you'll get a lot of thoughts, right? You'll get a lot of thoughts. Oh, that thing. Oh, I should fix that thing. Oh, that guy said that to me. Oh, I should really go and do that. I should go. Is that a way of living life fully? I don't think so. That's what I want you to get out of, because it's part of the ego. It's like dare have the courage to be present. Okay, I will promise you that it will solve everything in your life. Almost. I almost have the courage to say that. Yeah. If your life isn't full of war and people dying, which I really hope it's not, but as I said, if that was the case, you would probably not have the time to watch this video. If it's just that you've built up, you live in the past, you live in the future of how things are going to be, I should do that, I should do this, I think you will benefit from this a lot. I think just have the courage to be with yourself without stimulation. Just look and just and just and just be. Ask the deep questions about life. Ask the deep questions about existence, about awareness. You will realize that wow, this is it right here. Okay, this the act of being is it. There's nothing else. And if you can conquer being with the whole self, if you can conquer that, then you can conquer anything in life because there is nothing else. Like you might become rich one day and you can go to all these places, but if you can't just be, then you will get those ego thoughts wherever you go. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do in life if you can't conquer being and awareness of the ego and awareness of your thoughts. Then it doesn't matter how rich you become, the materialistic stuff. It doesn't matter how good you get at guitar. That voice will always find you, and you will always find yourself in misery. And the key is to just start being with what is right now, not what has been, not what is gonna become, because all that's been and everything that will be have their moment in that presence that will be. Like in the future, there will be a present moment, which is the future. But right now, that's not it. Right now, you're here. And there was a time in the past where that was the present moment. So that means in being, learning to conquer the present moment means that every one of those moments will become the best moment you've ever had. And all of a sudden, it's just everything just flows. Life has just become so easy because you can just be. You can also feel the enjoyment of just being. I really hope that this resonated with you. I know it would help me. If I saw this video a couple of years ago, I would hope that I would listen because it would save me so much time and so much misery and so much anxiety. Choose a present life from now on. It will benefit you in all aspects of life, especially music. Okay? I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for your journey. And I am grateful that you watched all the way here. I just saw a beautiful bird outside, sorry. I'm grateful for everything you are doing for yourself. If you've watched this vlog, that means you have something inside of you that wants to change, maybe. And if that's the case, I'm happy for you because it will. You will become so much more content in life and in your music. And I'm looking forward for that. And I will be here along the way. You can always join my digital community, GuitArmin School, where we talk about jazz guitar. We talk about mental health. You can join that in this description. Thank you once again. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. GuitArmin out. Bye-bye.